We call the meeting to order. Roll call.
We have 22 supervisors present. Supervisor Caro is excused.
Okay, also present is Evan Lesquez from Finance and Administration Committee, Alexa Didinsky from Judiciary and Law, Ann Price from the Executive Committee, Erica Bando, and Eric Lemire from Human Services Committee. Thank you for coming. Okay, at this point, we're going to have the presentation of the budget by County Executive Samantha Kerkman. Samantha? Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Good evening, Chairman Nudo, Vice Chair Decker, and members of the County Board, elected officials, and fellow citizens of Kenosha County. What an honor it is for me to be here tonight to present to you my first budget as County Exec. I'd like to take a moment to reflect on what brought me here, to speak before this distinguished board in this beautiful County Board chambers, in this position as your County Exec. Some of you know me well, while others are still getting to know each other. I am a native of this great county, and I was called to serve the public from a very young age when my dad, Mark Starzyk, was a member of this board. I grew up around public servants, and I've always admired the work they have put into representing the people and addressing the needs of our community. While still at UW-Whitewater, I had the privilege of interning for former State Representative Cloyd Porter. I eventually became a member of his legislative staff, and when Cloyd retired, I had the honor of succeeding him in the Assembly, where I would spend the next 21 plus years working for the people of our region. During my years as state representative, I devoted efforts to providing responsive, empathetic, constituent service, while keeping a watchful eye on the functions of state government. I did that as the co-chair of the Legislative Audit Committee, where we led our work led to meaningful changes, rooting out fraud and waste, and working towards greater efficiency in government. Now here as your county exec, my priorities remain the same, and I'd like to think that the skills that I honed at the state capitol, I brought back here to Kenosha County. And I'm now joining with you to put them to work on this budget that I'm proud to present to you tonight. In my initial months as county exec have been about building partnerships. Partnerships with local governments, our municipalities, first responders, and our county employees. And the list goes on. And working together is how we get things done here in Kenosha County. And working in partnership with you, we will adopt a budget that provides services for the people of our county, moves us forward as the gateway to Wisconsin, and uses our taxpayer resources wisely. And working together as a county, we work with partners like the Kenosha Area Business Alliance. That's how we got to AAA. And I am proud to say that we continued this momentum with Standard & Poor's with the renewal of the bond rating this past August. This continued rating is a seal of approval of the strong financial positioning of our county. I know Supervisor Geertsen knows this well. As the county's finance director for many years, he was one of the chief architects that got us to AAA rating. And we are so lucky to have him serving as a member of this board. Let's give a hand to Dave and to all the members of the board and the finance team that worked so hard to keep us AAA. Thank you. One of the main reasons we remained AAA is that we continue to be a magnet for economic development in this region and in our nation. For the second year in a row, Kenosha County has the highest net new construction rate in the state, with 2022 surpassing 2021. And we've had the state's second highest growth for the 5-year period from 2021 to 2022 at 8.8%. The groundbreakings and the ribbon cuttings keep coming, as do the companies that decided to make Kenosha County where they'd like to be. Vonco Products is a great example of this boom. This dynamic company, a manufacturer of specialized packaging solutions for all sorts of industries, became the first tenant in the Salem Business Park when it moved up here from Illinois in 2016. And 5 years later, it was ready to grow and has broken ground on a 3,600 square foot addition that opened last fall. The company's president, Keith Smith, hosted us at Vonco recently for the Council of Governments meeting that some of you attended. And he tells me that he couldn't be happier being here in Kenosha County. In Pleasant Prairie, Kroger cut the ribbon this summer on a state-of-the-art fulfillment center that is supplying home delivery grocery services throughout our region. One of about a dozen facilities currently up and running and planned throughout our country. This project was achieved from some help from the state and the county, which worked in partnership to expand Highway H to accommodate the constant flow of trucks in and out of this facility. And of course, there's Haribo. This sweet addition to the corporate landscape has been in the works for several years and is almost done with construction. And this is an example of Kenosha County as a worldwide player for economic development. All of these developments will pay off to the entire county in the long run. They bring employees, potential residents to Kenosha County, and are contributing to our tax base. The village of Pleasant Prairie is seeing the long-term fruits of these efforts with the upcoming retirement of one of its tax incremental financing districts. With that, their success will benefit all the residents in Kenosha County. The Council of Governments meeting, which I mentioned a moment ago, this is a great example of partnerships, bringing people of our county together. We had a great conversation a few weeks back with representatives of the state, county, and nearly all the municipalities in a room, listening and learning about the issues that affect all of us. One of the speakers at that meeting, Sergeant Chris Hanna, our new Director of Emergency Government, he is working in partnership with the Sheriff's Department. We brought Chris into this position a few months back following Captain Staples' promotion. Chris is somebody who knows the role, he knows our county, and will be an asset to us in a time of emergency, times when partnerships carry us through recovery. In this budget, we are partnering with the city of Kenosha in an ongoing redevelopment of the uptown area, as the community continues to heal from the wounds that it suffered in August of 2020. This budget will contribute $350,000 in an effort to bring businesses and residents back into the struggling areas in the heart of the city. This budget continues to move our county's human services building into the center of our communities that we serve, replacing an outdated facility through an innovative public-private partnership. Thanks to the board for recently approving the acceptance of the nearly $10 million grant from the state of Wisconsin. With that, the project is on track for construction to begin in 2023, with the goal of opening in the spring of 2024. We're continuing to take human services out into the community, meeting people where they're at, with services and resources. The county's behavioral health manager, Carrie Foss, and her team have started something great and truly useful with human services on the go. And we continue to move with this momentum in the future. Earlier, I mentioned our county employees amongst our partners. While there's still work to be done on the class and comp study, the consultant is telling us that the benchmark jobs are on average below market value. Therefore, as the first step towards remaining competitive, we are budgeting a 3% increase to our wage schedule and a 1% across the board increase for all our employees on the first of the year. This gives all of our hardworking employees something additional right away. It helps us be competitive in hiring and gives more earning potential to our employees who are currently at the top of their pay grade. We've included some reclassifications in the jobs that we know need immediate attention, like nursing assistants, environmental service workers, admissions and release specialists, and social workers. We have included another $500,000 to address the final recommendations of the study that will come out in the months ahead. This budget retains our commitment to improving and maintaining our infrastructure needs, continuing to embark on projects that support economic development and our quality life here. The Pike River South Branch Restoration, a project that previously County Board supported, is moving forward in this budget. Although it might see some tweaks, I'm committed to addressing the issues that cause chronic flooding in our corridor, issues that affect the health of the entire Pike River system. This budget includes road projects aimed at enhancing safety, such as the construction of the roundabout at Highway A and Y in Summers, and the reconstruction of Highway EM in Twin Lakes. We're also continuing the program of keeping up and maintaining our county highway roads. 15 miles of paving in this budget. We're continuing efforts to attract support for the restoration of our historic ceremonial courtroom. This project will only happen through the power of partnerships. And I'm so pleased with last week's announcement of the $100,000 donation from Habish, and Rotier. This generous donation gets us further down the road to seeing restoration come to fruition. And it's hopefully the start of something more to come. Now we're doing all these projects while keeping a close eye on our long-term obligations. This budget reduces our borrowing by $6.3 million compared to last year. We're continuing to be good fiscal stewards, reviewing the projects that have been in the CIP, but still doing what we need to do. We've taken advantage of low interest rates in the past, but now we know we're in more uncertain inflationary times, and care will be taken to keep our obligations under control. Last, but not certainly, this budget makes a commitment to our veterans. The Kenosha County Veterans Memorial Park. If you have not been there, you really must see it. This has been a wonderful destination to honor our veterans. As we speak, construction continues on the permanent restrooms near the Veterans Honor Plaza that opened last year. And work has begun on the first of the memorial shelters to be built in the coming years, honoring those who have served in each of the branches of our military. But one thing we have found that has not taken shape is that visitors don't always know how to get to the destination. There's the original park entrance off of County Highway KD, with a road that takes you to breathtaking lake and several miles of hiking trails. And then there's the new entrance off of Highway F. It leads you to the Honor Veterans Plaza. This budget will bestow fitting names upon those roads. When Cloyd Porter was in the legislature, he had worked hard to secure state support, roughly $300,000. The county's purchase of the old gravel pit became the original part of the park. And it's so my honor tonight to pay tribute to him with the naming of Highway Katy entrance as Porter Parkway. So many of you know that the western part of the park, where the Honor Plaza is located, was once land owned by Powers Lake Construction. And as such, there is language in this budget resolution that designates the County Highway F entrance as Carroll Court. It is my pleasure to designate these names, and I trust that they will be well known for future generations. Thank you. When I think of partnerships, I think of a group of veterans in our community that came to me and talked to me about the landmarks, the veterans landmarks dotted across our county, including some that are perhaps more well known than others. I had an idea, and I am proud to introduce it to you tonight. Today, we launched the Kenosha County Veterans Honor Plaza, an online one-stop shopping for our veterans-related information in our county. One of the features of this porthole came from a conversation with those residents. The Kenosha County Veterans Tribute Trail is a map-based application that takes our users on a self-guided tour of landmarks throughout the county. VFW, American Legion Post, war memorials, notable veterans' graves, and more. It's all there on a map that you can follow in your car or at home in your easy chair. I believe this is a wonderful resource for residents and visitors alike. Another feature of the portal is very exciting is the Veterans Honor Registry, a place where veterans or their families or survivors of veterans from long ago can contribute to a living history of our veterans. An online form is accessible from the portal that allows people to enter information about our veterans with Kenosha County ties. That information is vetted by our staff and will be published on a public-facing site that we hope to grow in years to come. Kudos to Veteran Services Director Ollie Nelson and Land Information Director Scott Susie and the whole team for making this vision come to life. In conclusion, this budget meets the needs of our county, and it moves us forward, and it does so fiscally responsibly. I look forward to working in partnership with you, the county board, to make it happen. May God bless you, may God bless America, and may God bless Kenosha County. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, Executive Kerkman. We're going to wait a couple minutes so you guys can receive your books. Okay. Citizen comments. Is there any citizen wish to speak? Please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
102nd Street. I'll try to be brief to not keep you from your light reading that you have later on this evening. During the report of the Library Committee at the last County Board meeting, the reporting County Board Supervisor noted that the Kenosha Public Library had chosen the novel Homegoing as its 2023 annual Big Read. He noted that he felt the chosen book was, quote, graphic and, quote, controversial and should not be used for this reading incentive for teens and adults. He said he tried to encourage a change of book choice, but that the librarian refused. He considers this a, quote, serious matter for the library to go forward with this book. The reading event to which the supervisor is referring is the National Endowment for the Arts Big Read, an annual nationwide event through public library systems, and it's funded through a grant from the NEA. The NEA Big Read is meant to, quote, broaden our understanding of the world through the power of a shared reading experience, showcasing a diverse range of themes, voices, and perspectives to inspire meaningful conversations and connections in each community. Although it wasn't mentioned in the Supervisor's Library Committee report, Homegoing was written by Ya Jesse, an American author who emigrated from Ghana as a child. She was awarded multiple national awards for the authoring of this novel, which was her first. Homegoing is a novel about an African family that was split apart by the slave trade. It follows descendants of this family as they live their lives through 7 generations. The ability to tell one's own story without censorship emerges as an important theme throughout this novel. When asked what she hoped would be a reader's takeaway from Homegoing, Jessie said that she wants readers to recognize that all of the traumatic moments that we look at in our history happened to individuals like us, and it's important not to look at them as masses, but to put names and faces to them. I agree with the Library Committee's report that this novel is seen as controversial. However, that speaks to us as a society, not to the contents of the novel. The controversy lies in our unwillingness at times as a society to address ideas and contents of books because they might address issues that make us uncomfortable. But we all know that no real personal growth can happen to any of us without some discomfort. I'm halfway through this novel and find it to be painful to read, but also fascinating in its historical sense and its characters. The writing itself is beautiful. It is not pornographic, as the reporting supervisor stated. Rather, it is graphic, because it depicts what happened to enslaved Africans, to millions of enslaved Africans over hundreds of years, violence and taking away the right to protect one's own body. As stated on its webpage, the Kenosha County Library System Board meets 6 times per year to review financial statements, discuss and resolve county-wide library issues, and to review and approve the Kenosha County Library System Annual System Plan and the Kenosha County Library System Annual Budget. It is not stated that the purpose of said board is to censor books chosen by professional librarians from a list of books chosen by the National Endowment for the Arts. We as a community must be wary of such actions to attempt censorship. As in our history and in the history of other countries, when censorship has been allowed, it led to creating a culture of other, limiting views that were deemed acceptable and diminished freedoms by portions of our population. Thank you for bringing the novel Homegoing to my attention, giving me the opportunity to read it. It is my hope that before passing judgment on any novel, those tempted to do so first read it in its entirety with an open mind and allow others to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen? Please state your name and address.
Jody Meerhoff, 7220 First Avenue. The Kenosha County Board guidelines for citizen comments are published online, are displayed next to this podium, and citizens are verbally reminded to abide by them at the start of every meeting since the arrest of a resident during the June 21st County Board meeting. The Kenosha County YouTube channel contains a video of that June 21st meeting where the resident was arrested while trying to deliver his citizen comments. During that meeting, there were numerous instances of people shouting out while other residents were delivering their citizen comments, including the person who was later arrested, and there were people who came to the podium and spoke disrespectfully to and about other residents in attendance. Just before the arrest that evening, at around the 56-minute mark in the YouTube video that you can watch, a citizen interrupts the speaker at the podium. That person walks past and makes a comment to the person delivering his citizen comments to the board. That exchange triggered the spiral that led to the arrest. All of this shows the importance of having guidelines for county board meetings so everyone can safely and without interruption exercise their First Amendment right to publicly address the selected body, and so that everyone in attendance, including supervisors, feel respected. The controversial nature of the resolutions and policy changes that this current board has chosen to advance also show why it's important to enforce the guidelines for these meetings. For instance, a policy change allowing weapons into our county buildings and parks, which an open records request showed 80% of people who contacted their supervisors disagreed with, brought many people with strong opinions to speak at meetings leading up to the vote. Another controversial action taken by this board was refusing to allow Kenosha County residents to vote on whether they wanted guns in county buildings and parks. There was also community opposition to a policy change allowing the new county executive to fire division and department heads at will and without cause. At the September 20th board meeting, a citizen addressed the fact that members of this board have used their current position in leadership to write opinion columns in the newspaper. Those guest columns allow for many more words than a typical letter to the editor that the rest of us can write, and are reserved for community leaders. That guest column the speaker referenced at the last county board meeting was one in which a county board member politicized the 2020 riots that damaged and disrupted our community. That board member openly states he was writing to influence the upcoming election. Some of us consider that a controversial abuse of power. That guest column mentioned during last citizen comments was also controversial because the information it contained went against the known facts of the events and the expert opinions of both our county sheriff, who headed the law enforcement response during the riots, the expert knowledge of Major General Paul Knapp, who heads the Wisconsin National Guard, as well as the facts provided by both the county executive and the mayor. All the controversy surrounding actions by our current county board shows it's important to enforce the county guidelines for these meetings. Those guidelines including instructions to not address supervisors individually or directly during comments, to be courteous in language and deportment, to avoid personalized remarks, and to refrain from comments that are rude or personally attacking. The guidelines also direct citizens in the audience to not audibly respond to in agreement or disagreement to the comments being made by other citizens at the podium. The events of the June County Board meeting show why enforcing those guidelines is important. Yet during the 10 minutes of citizen comments at the September 20th County Board meeting, which is available on the Kenosha County YouTube channel, none of the guidelines were enforced other than reminding speakers to keep to the time limit. Those guidelines are meant to keep these meetings safe and to create a respectful environment for all in attendance, and to assure that what happened at the June 21st meeting never happens here again. I am asking that in the future, regardless of who is speaking, those guidelines are fairly and consistently enforced during every single meeting for every single Kenosha County resident who attends these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen wish to speak? Citizen comments are closed. Announcement of the chairperson, I don't have anything right now. Supervisor reports. Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick update on a few items that from the Public Works meeting that was different or additional to the Public Works documents that went out to all of the supervisors earlier. One of the things, I'm not sure whether this was brought up before, but in August we did have someone with an ATV or UTV type vehicle rip up number 11, number 13, number 15 greens at Petrified Springs Golf Course, and we're looking at ways of hopefully being able to catch any future perpetrators from that. Both Petrifying Springs and Brightondale golf courses have been nominated in 6 different categories by the Golf Course Owners of Wisconsin. One category is considered to be an honor. 6 categories are considered to be unheard of. I do have a list of categories if you'd be interested, but it's a big honor for our golf courses, both of them, to have this honored. And those awards are processed through golfers, owners of golf courses, members of that association, as well as the PGA and the WSGA. So it is people in the golf community who have given us 6 nominations that we should be very proud of. I think the end of the month, October 20th, I think when awards come out, so we'll know more then. And then the 50-year golf outing is tomorrow, October 5th. I don't know if that's filled, but if not, and you want to play, go for it. Under highways, today Joe Patenti emailed everyone about the Q and U update, switching lanes. So if you're heading down 165 or heading out 165 or Q, being aware that in a couple of days those lanes are going to switch right a little bit on the west side of 165 of the U-line plant, and new paving and all that's getting done now. So it's coming to a completion, I think, hopefully soon. Intersection of highways 32 and 165 are complete. County Highway Y and A is open. Utility work is complete and they're preparing for construction. There's a new Highway K issue. We should have lanes going in each direction by mid-November. This has to do with the railroad. I think it's the Union Pacific. There was some delays in what they required or needed. County S punch list is proceeding. Corp Counsel is preparing for disposition of 10 to 12 remaining parcels. I think we're still having a legal issue with the Weeks people over there. County W from Fairgrounds to Highway F have been completed. The designs for County Highway W from the state line to the fairgrounds should be completed soon. There's a public information meeting will be set up as well on that. County Highway CJ paving's in process. County NN paving is complete. And all those out in the Paddock Lake area, I'll be very happy. Highway 83 is now open at the corner of Highway 83 and 50 going south. Parkside Multi-Use Trail bridge installation is in process. They're still targeting for fall completion. Kemper revetment replacement, we're considering options for a future project. I think we have an IGA with the city for $500,000. There was the opening of the Bristol Woods Nature Playground. One of the other things that came out was a multi-terrain wheelchair for Pringle Nature Preserve and potentially other parks if they need them. But instead of altering our trail system to accept wheelchairs and walkers and all that, this project, this came up, and there's another county using them, and this is something that we're going to really look to see if we can get this in place, I believe, by next year. And I don't think there's much cost to the county on that either. South Branch of Pike River received Army Corps okay to purchase land. Plat approval has been deferred and it is in the budget for 2023. There's a Camp Lake Dam ownership proposal under discussion, and we will be transferring, it's on tonight's agenda, I believe, the lots that are in Valmore to Salem Lakes for their, these are properties that were taken back in the 70s. We'll talk more about it later, but that should be it. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Berg.
As many of you, or actually as all of you, have gotten an email from the Kenosha NAACP, November 4th is the Freedom Fund Dinner. It's going to be at UW Parkside. I would ask that anybody that's interested, or everybody, to please try to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other supervisors? Seeing none, supervisor reports are closed.
County Executive Appointments, 17, Chris Breidelman to serve on the Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Refer to Judiciary and Law.
18, Scott Grundy to serve on the Land Information Council.
Refer to PDAC Committee.
New Business Resolution 39, one reading from the Public Works and Facilities Committee, a resolution authorizing a development agreement between Kenosha County and the Village of Paddock Lake for the construction of a band shelter in Old Settlers Park. This passed unanimously at committee with Supervisors Belsky and Caro excused.
Supervisor Nordigan.
Move the resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Nordigan, second by Supervisor Stock. Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the resolution between agreement between the county and the village of Paddock Lake for us to install a band shelter up there that I believe is approximately $125,000, but $100,000 of that is coming in from the folks there who run the beer garden, I believe it is. Like I said, it was unanimously supported in committee, and I ask for your support tonight. Thank you.
Any comments? Supervisor Thomas.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, the money wasn't coming from the beer garden. It was $100,000 was coming from Oktoberfest. $10,000 was used for engineering and planning, I believe, and then the balance of $90,000 is going towards, I think the total cost is $170,000. I don't know if someone wants to correct me from Public Works if they're here. He's giving me the thumbs up. All right, I'm remembering correctly. So I just wanted to clarify where the money was coming from. And then the
Okay.
balance was coming from, I think, the Parkland Development Fund, which is at the discretion of the county exec. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other supervisors? Okay, saying none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes.
Communications 27, communication from the Public Works Facilities Committee, a resolution authorizing the transfer of 4 parcels in Salem Lakes to the Village of Salem Lakes for lift stations.
Refer to Finance Committee.
Communications 28, from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a memorandum of understanding regarding the use of ARPA funds Law Enforcement Agency grant.
Refer to Judiciary and Law and Finance Committees.
29, communications from Andy M. Bueller regarding future items scheduled before the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Received and filed.
Claims 14, Ramona Nunez, personal injury.
Refer to Corporation Council.
The approval of the September 20th, 2022 minutes by Supervisor Gens.
Supervisor Gens.
I move the September 2022 minutes.
Moved by Supervisor Gens, second by Vice Chair Decker. All those in, any comment? All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Yes. Motion to adjourn by Supervisor Uas, second by Supervisor Wemble. All in favor? Aye. Oppose? We're adjourned.